Hey guys, I am going to show you guys how to make coconut oil from scratch at home. So I went to Whole Foods and I gathered 4 coconuts. I have 4 beautiful coconuts. When you're picking your coconuts, you just want to make sure you can actually hear water in it. So if you can hear water, especially if you can hear a lot of water, it's a fresh, healthy coconut. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Let me show you. That is a sign of a nice, healthy, fresh coconut. The technique to open up coconuts is going to be a hammer and this little screwdriver looking thing. It's not really even a screwdriver. I don't know what this is. I'm just going to pose for my thumbnail really quickly. I promise you this recipe is so easy to do. The hardest part is going to be actually opening these bad boys up.
Hey guys, so let's hop right into cracking these coconuts open. As you can see, I'm just using my hammer. I actually didn't need the screwdriver. These coconuts were pretty easy to crack open. So I'm just rotating the coconut as I crack. It just helps to make sure that water doesn't just burst out. And you want to do this over a bowl or near a bowl so you could collect that beautiful coconut water. Coconut water is so beneficial and packed with so many vitamins and electrolytes. So I'm just straining that to remove any extra residue or dirt that may have came off of the coconut, and I'm just going to store this in the fridge because I like to drink it, add it to my smoothies. I make my oatmeal, my rice with it. It's so beneficial, guys. So once you have that coconut water extracted, we're going to remove the coconut from the shell. I feel like this part is harder than actually cracking the coconut open. To open a coconut was pretty easy. It's removing the fruit from the actual shell that makes it so hard. So as you can see, I'm just still doing that same technique where I rotate the coconut and crack it with the hammer. This just helps crack it into smaller pieces to help you remove the coconut meat from the shell. Some of them removed in pieces, some of them just removed as a whole. It doesn't matter as long as you get the coconut meat out of the shell. Because now we're going to go ahead and chop that up into little bite-sized cubes, and then we're going to go ahead and give it a rinse so we could blend it. But you want to make sure these pieces are small enough to be blended by your blender, depending on the size of your blender, of course. Now I'm just transferring that chopped coconut into another bowl, and we're going to give that a good wash. And I'm just using room temperature water, guys, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of baking soda just to ensure that I'm removing all that dirt and debris. And as I'm washing these coconut pieces, I'm kind of massaging them with my hands because you don't want any extra, residue left on your coconut. And I'm going to remove this and go ahead and pour this filthy water out and give it one more rinse just to ensure there's no dirt or anything left on my coconut. So now that our coconut is fresh and clean, we're going to go ahead and transfer that into our blender. And I have a lot of chopped coconuts, so I'm just doing a few batches at a time. And I'm going to go ahead and pour some spring water in there. Now, it doesn't matter which kind of water you use. That's totally up to you. But I recommend and I prefer spring water or even distilled water. And there's no real measurements to this, guys. You just want to make sure there's enough water to where it creates a milky consistency. And that's actually what you're making right now is coconut milk. So once you have blended that for about 2 minutes and it creates this thick milky consistency, you're going to go ahead and strain. Now I do recommend you use a cheesecloth for this, but I just threw out my old cheesecloth. So I'm left doing this the old school way with my hand and a strainer. But either way it goes, it gets the job done. And once you strain all of that liquid out, you're left with all of this fresh shredded coconut. And this can be added to any recipe, your smoothies or anything. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some more coconut in the blender for my last batch. And a little bit more of that spring water. And just go ahead and blend that up for about 2 minutes. So now I'm just straining that last little bit, and I just want to ensure that I'm getting out all of that good liquid, guys. And then we're going to take that coconut milk and give it one more strain because I want to make sure that there's no coconut pieces or no extra residue left. You want this liquid to just be straight coconut milk. So now we're just going to transfer our coconut milk into a fresh clean bowl, and I'm just doing a quick little strain as I transfer it just to ensure there's no little tiny pieces of coconut or any extra residue that we don't want in this coconut milk. So to extract the coconut oil from the coconut milk, we have to let this ferment overnight, guys. You're not going to refrigerate it, you're just going to leave it out at a good room temperature, but you want to make sure it is sealed and covered so there's no extra air getting inside. So I'm just taking some plastic saran wrap and I'm just going to put a little cutting board on top and let that ferment for 12 to 24 hours. So it's about 18 hours later. I let this coconut milk ferment overnight, and as you can see, the coconut fat or the coconut curd has separated from the water, creating this nice solid layer on top. So what we're going to do is go ahead and remove that coconut curd from the top and separate it and put it into another bowl. You don't want to get the water with it. You just want to separate that coconut curd, just that, no water. So as you can see, I'm even gathering all of those smaller pieces of coconut curd. You don't want to leave any of this extra curd or fat behind because our oil is going to be extracted from this curd. You just want to make sure you're straining out any of that excess water. And now that we have our coconut curd separated into another bowl, we're going to go ahead and heat this on low heat in the pan. So guys, when I put this in my pan, I already make sure the pan is nicely heated. But like I said, I keep it on a low heat. You can put it on a low medium heat. I just like to do this a slower process because it just helps to make sure you don't burn any of the coconut. So we're going to let this cook on low heat for about 30 to 45 minutes, guys. And I just like to give this an occasional stir just to ensure that it won't burn and it's cooking nice and evenly. So it's been about 15 minutes and I'm going to give that a quick little stir, and you can see all of that water from the coconut fat starting to separate and evaporate. So I'm just going to give that a couple more stirs so the coconut can start to cook down. And when the coconut starts to cook down and look a little crystallized like this, you can see all of that coconut oil starting to gather in the pan. And keep in mind, guys, that your coconut oil is going to take up the color of your coconut. So you don't want it to cook too long, otherwise you're going to have a tannish brownish coconut oil, which is okay, but you don't want it to overcook. So now I'm just straining that coconut and that coconut oil, and I'm making sure to get all of that coconut oil out, guys. You want as much as you could possibly get. So I'm just taking my spoon and just pressing down on that coconut to release a little bit more oil. Now I did use 4 small coconuts, so obviously the smaller your coconut, the less oil that you're going to possibly get from the coconut. But if you're like on a Caribbean island or you have easy access to coconuts, you may be able to find bigger coconuts, which means more oil. So I'm just going to go ahead and give that an extra strain and pour that into my mason jar. And now we are left with this beautiful coconut oil that smells so good, you guys. And this process is so easy to do. You really can make your own coconut oil at home, and it has so many uses. You can cook with it or add it to your skincare and hair care, which I am going to show you. And one thing I love about coconut oil is its shelf life. Coconut oil can last up to 2 years, and when it's refrigerated, it lasts even longer. I do like to refrigerate mine just to keep that freshness in there a little bit longer. But when I'm going to use it, I just take it out maybe like 20 minutes before I use it so it can soften up. So now I'm just going to show you guys how I apply this to my hair. It's very simple. I apply it just like any other oil. I like to section my hair off just to ensure that I'm getting all of my hair strands saturated in this good coconut oil. So now I'm just raking that coconut oil through my hair from the roots to the ends. And I like to make sure my ends are well moisturized because your ends are typically the driest since your ends are the oldest part of your hair. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. And once all of my hair is well moisturized, I'm just going to go ahead and put that in a braid. Let's just make sure that my hair stays detangled throughout the night and it doesn't like frizz up or anything like that. So I like to do 2 braids. I'm also applying a little bit of this coconut oil to my scalp and just making sure my scalp is nice and moisturized as well, because coconut oil is so good for the skin and good for the hair and also good to digest. You guys can also cook your food with this. So guys, if you love this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And thank you for watching. Mwah.